Whether you're stuck in traffic, hitting the gym, or just winding down, we're here to spill the hottest tea from your favorite Bravo shows. From the wildest reunions to the quietest social media unfollows, we cover it all. So welcome back to Reality TV Podcast and Clips. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's get into it on 3, 2, 1.
We are jumping straight into Beverly Hills, right?
Yes, jumping right in because there's a really fascinating power struggle happening. And for once, it's not about who has the most expensive bag or the biggest house.
Thank goodness.
Right. It is actually about who controls the social atmosphere.
Right.
Prismabuzz St. John has entered the chat, and she's completely rewriting the unspoken rules of engagement.
It is so rare to see a rookie come in with this level of analytical confidence.
Yeah.
Usually, you see new cast members trying to fit into the existing architecture of the group. But Boz is doing the exact opposite. She is inspecting the architecture and pointing out all the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, her conflict with Amanda Francis is the perfect example of this.
Right. But let's look at the actual catalyst there. To a normal person, Amanda taking a 45-minute business call in a car might just seem, a bit rude.
A little annoying, yeah.
But Boz turned it into a full-on character indictment. She didn't just say, that was annoying. She accused Amanda of reaching for relevancy.
And that phrase is very specific. It implies a performance.
Right.
Boz's argument is that unless it is a literal emergency, taking a long call like that when you are filming, or really just in a shared space with other people, is a signal. It signals that you are trying to prove your importance to the room.
Like, look how busy and important I am.
Exactly. It's a complete breach of presence. Boz stated very clearly she would never do that because she actually values the people she is physically with.
It feels like she's setting this standard for authenticity that the others now have to somehow meet. She even said she would be all right if she never saw this version of Amanda again.
Basically telling her to go away and grow up.
Exactly. But what I find even more compelling is how Boz is using this exact same intensity to sort of wedge herself between Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley.
This is where her strategy just gets brilliant. We all know the Kyle and Dorit dynamic has been fraying for a while.
Oh, totally.
And Boz has identified the weak point, which is listening. She claims she practices active listening.
Okay, wait, explain how she's defining that.
Well, she's saying she absorbs what Dorit says rather than just listening to form a rebuttal or jump in with a defense.
But is that genuine, do you think? Or is it a tactic? Because if you tell someone, I'm the only one who truly hears you, you are instantly isolating them from their other friends.
I think it can be both. It disrupts the pattern. Kyle and Dorit have a years-long pattern of talking over each other and just being hyper-reactive.
Yeah, that's true.
By slowing it down and absorbing, Boz makes Dorit feel validated in a way Kyle hasn't recently. And interestingly, Boz isn't attacking Kyle directly at all.
No, she's actually defending her against those agenda accusations.
Right, but the defense itself is a bit of a backhanded compliment.
You mean when she called Kyle's life a weird middle?
Exactly that. She's framing Kyle not as some villainous mastermind pulling strings, but as someone who is flailing and just trying to figure out her life.
Wow. Yeah, it minimizes Kyle.
It does. It's much harder to fight an enemy who pities you than an enemy who hates you.
That is such a good point. And speaking of identity crises and flailing, we have to talk about Sutton Stracke.
Oh, absolutely.
Because while Boz is managing her image perfectly, Sutton seems to be really unraveling. But we found out there is a very deep theological reason for this.
This context changes everything about Sutton's behavior right now. We found out her marriage to Christian Stracke was annulled.
And we really need to pause on that because people often swap the words divorce and annulment.
Yeah, they use them interchangeably.
But in the Catholic Church, they are absolutely not the same thing.
Not at all. A divorce says the marriage ended. An annulment says the marriage never technically existed in the eyes of the church.
Which is heavy.
And the physical manifestation of this was a letter Sutton received. It wasn't addressed to Sutton Stracke. It was addressed to Sutton Brown.
Her maiden name.
Yes.
That is brutal. It's like the last 20 years were just deleted with a keystroke.
It is a complete erasure of her history. And Boz actually connected with this deeply because, as we know, she is a widow.
All right.
She explained that after her husband, Peter St. John, passed away, she intentionally kept his name to share that identity with her daughter, Lael. She sees the stripping of a name as a stripping of self.
So when we see Sutton fighting with Garcelle or having that meltdown with her former assistant, Avi, it's not just, rich lady drama.
No, it's a woman who is literally fighting to prove she exists.
It reframes all of her aggression as a defense mechanism. If the church and the legal system are telling you that your life as a wife simply didn't happen, you might start screaming just to be heard.
Exactly. It is a profound loss of narrative control.
Narrative control. That is actually the perfect transition to our next topic.
Valley Village.
Yes. We are heading to Valley Village. We have been waiting for this moment for what feels like a decade. Ariana Madix has officially moved out of the shared home.
Finally. The visual of the movers wheeling those boxes out, it really is the closing shot of that entire Sandoval era. It has been 3 years since the affair.
Why did it take 3 years, though? I think that's the question you see everyone asking. If you are that miserable living with someone, why stay?
Yeah.
But it was a leverage game, wasn't it?
Entirely a leverage game. If she had moved out immediately, Tom Sandoval could have claimed she abandoned the property. Or it could have weakened her position in a forced sale.
Ah, I see.
She stayed to protect her investment. Tom had offered $3.1 million to keep the house, but she wanted a forced sale.
But now she's physically gone. She bought a new place in the Hollywood Hills for $1.6 million. Does that mean she lost the battle for the original house?
No, it means she likely won the war. Yeah. They reached a conditional settlement regarding that $3 million property. She dismissed her lawsuit, but only on the condition that specific terms were met within 30 days.
Okay, so the fact that she is physically leaving with her boyfriend Daniel Way helping with the boxes implies those terms were finally met.
Right. She got her money, or she got the buyout structure she wanted.
So the move isn't a retreat, it's a victory lap.
It's the final untangling. Financial assets are always the hardest part of a long-term breakup to resolve. By leaving, she is signaling that the business transaction of their relationship is officially closed.
Speaking of relationships that seem more like business transactions lately, let's look at the Valley.
Oh boy, Kristen Doubt and Luke Broderick.
Yes. They just had a baby, Kaya. You would think this is the happy, honeymoon phase of parenthood, but the signals we're getting are incredibly confusing.
Confusing is definitely the right word. The Season 3 trailer shows them arguing pretty significantly, and the bio for the season actually hints that their romantic connection has taken a backseat to the baby.
Which is normal. New parents are tired, they fight.
Right, but Kristen is doing something very specific on social media that changes the context. A fan commented, hoping they were doing okay after seeing the trailer, and Kristen replied with just emojis.
Just emoji.
A hand heart and a red heart. That's it.
Oh, wow. That is the soft launch of a breakup. Or at least the soft launch of a storyline.
Exactly. It's ambiguous enough to be polite, but it completely lacks the definitive, yes, we are great, that you would expect if everything was actually fine. It keeps the audience guessing.
And naturally, if there is guessing to be done, Jax Taylor is going to insert himself into the conversation.
Jax is operating like a shadow producer at this point.
Always.
We heard from Golnisa Gigi that Jax texted her with very detailed personal information about Kristen and Luke's problems.
Why does he do that? Does he just thrive on it?
He's controlling the narrative before the show even airs. By leaking details to other reality stars, he ensures that the conversation happens on his terms.
And Sheena Shea wasn't surprised at all by this.
Not even a little. It shows that even though the show has a new name and they all have kids now, the high school gossip dynamics are exactly the same. Jax is weaponizing their struggles to keep himself relevant.
It's the circle of life in West Hollywood.
Truly.
Okay, let's jump over to the East Coast. The Real Housewives of Potomac reunion is coming up, and we have a feud that is based on a train ride.
It sounds ridiculous on the surface, but the train incident is really just the spark. Jassy Rideau claims she saw Kiarna Stewart on a train and neither of them spoke.
And Kiarna claims she didn't recognize Jassy because she looked different.
Right, and she added that little stinger. She looks beautiful right now.
Which heavily implies she looked terrible on the train.
Exactly. But this petty snub opened the door for some incredibly serious allegations at the reunion. Jassy escalated it to a 10 immediately.
She accused Kiarna of stealing Greg Diggs from his wife and raising his children.
Yes, and Kiarna fired back, saying Jassy's husband, Darius, had a secret baby and a second family.
This is where I want to dig in, because Jassy's defense to that was fascinatingly technical.
It was.
She said Darius didn't have 2 children on her.
A masterclass in technical truth. Her argument is that because she and Darius were long distance when they started dating, living in different states, he simply didn't tell her that another woman was already 7 months pregnant.
So her defense is literally, he didn't cheat on me because we weren't in the same state yet.
Yeah. I didn't know, so it doesn't count against our marriage.
That is splitting hairs at an atomic level.
It is, but notice what is happening here between both of them. They're both trying to delegitimize the foundation of the other person's marriage.
Right.
If I can prove your relationship started as an affair or with a massive secret, then I win the moral high ground. It's a race to the bottom.
It's so messy. But apparently messiness sells because we got news about Vanderpump Rules.
Yes. Season 13 is officially happening.
Renewed early. Before the season 12 finale even airs. That is a massive vote of confidence from the network.
Especially following a full reboot after the cast divide. It's surprising because if you look online, people seem to hate the new cast.
Yeah, the Reddit threads are brutal. They miss the original cast.
But this highlights the disconnect between the internet and reality. We have the current cast members reporting a totally different experience in real life.
Like who?
Well, the expected returns are Chris Hahn, Angelica Jensen, Marcus Johnson, Venus Binkley, Jason Cohen.
And Shane Davis, Audrey Lingle, Natalie Maguire, Demi Sellem, Kim Suarez. That's a huge cast.
It is. And they are saying that when they are actually working at SUR in person, the love from the fans is overwhelming. It completely overshadows the online hate.
So the people typing angry comments are still watching the show.
Exactly. Hate watching counts as a view. And the network sees the viewership numbers, not the online sentiment. It proves that the Vanderpump brand is strong enough to survive a total cast transplant.
I read they are even scouting for new people to join the existing group.
They are. The machine keeps moving.
So the lesson is, ignore the comment section, look at the ratings.
Pretty much.
No, we have a story that I think really highlights the darker side of narrative control on these shows. Below Deck Down Under, Chef Ben Robinson and his ex-fiancée Kiara Cabral.
This is a classic he said, she said, but with a major power imbalance.
Because Ben has a television show.
Exactly. On camera, Ben was crying, claiming he broke off the engagement because Kiara cheated on him with his close friend for a long time.
And he also claimed he spent $50,000 on a wedding that never happened.
Right. That is a very sympathetic edit. He looks like the absolute victim. But Kiara isn't on the show. She doesn't have a confessional chair to tell her side.
So she went to TikTok.
And her rebuttal was intense. She completely denied the cheating. She claimed she was the one who left him because of his behavior. She used very strong words like narcissism and trauma.
But the detail that really stuck out to me in her response was the timeline. She said this breakup happened years ago.
Yes. So Ben is crying on TV today about a relationship that ended quite a while back.
It raises a real question about using real-life people as plot points. Ben is reopening a wound that Kiara says has been healed, seemingly just to have a compelling storyline for the season.
And because he's the star of the show, his version becomes the official public record unless she fights back on social media. She even called herself a nobody without a platform, just wanting peace.
That is the crux of it. She has to defend her reputation against a global broadcast using a phone app. It shows that when you date a reality TV personality, you sort of lose ownership of your own history.
They can just rewrite the ending years later to fit their character arc.
That is scary. But actually, not as scary as our final story. We're moving from emotional danger to physical danger.
Yeah, this one is heavy.
We need to discuss the situation with Real Housewives of Orange County alum Meghan King and Jim Edmonds. This has moved way beyond gossip blogs and into actual police reports.
We have to be very factual here because these are serious legal matters. Meghan filed a harassment report with the Kirkwood Police Department in Missouri.
And the accusation is severe. She is alleging that Jim gave her phone number to sex workers with explicit instructions to harass her.
The details in the report are disturbing. She claims she was getting threatening calls and texts for 2 months. And these weren't just general threats. They were directed at her and their children.
Aspen, Hart, and Hayes.
Yes.
And she claims to have evidence of this. The report mentions she received a text from an unknown number that contained a photo of the text message. And that photo allegedly showed Jim giving those specific harassment instructions.
In her view, that is the smoking gun.
Now, Jim's representative, Steve Honig, denied this completely. He called the claims absurd and stated Jim is busy raising his kids in Tennessee.
But the police aren't treating it as a joke. They launched an investigation and requested a close patrol of her residence.
That is the line right there. When law enforcement is doing drive-bys to ensure a family's safety, the entertainment value is completely gone.
The report mentions Jim was losing his mind over a custody dispute, and it even references a past incident where a school staff member reported Meghan to CPS regarding unprescribed Ritalin for one of the children.
This is a family in total collapse.
It connects back to that theme of control we've been talking about all episode. Boz wants to control the social room, Sutton wants to control her identity, Ariana wants to control her assets.
Right.
But in the case of Meghan and Jim, the loss of control has spiraled into something genuinely dangerous.
It really makes you think about the trajectory of conflict. We started this deep dive talking about if a phone call in a car, a simple breach of etiquette, and we ended with police patrols. And for you, the listener, it's worth exploring on your own. At what point does the legal system need to step in and regulate how reality stars handle their disputes off camera? When does the pursuit of a good narrative cross the line into real-world legal consequences?
It's a blurry line, and unfortunately, we usually only see it clearly once the police are already involved.
A heavy note to end on, but a necessary one. We will keep monitoring these situations. If you appreciated this breakdown, make sure you are subscribed. We will catch you next time.